I'm Jimmy Carroll, lead pastor of Journey Church in Raleigh, North Carolina. I also serve as the president for the Liberty Church Network. Most of you have probably read the business book by Jim Collins, Good to Great. In that book, if you haven't read it, one of the things that Collins talks about is something called the hedgehog principle. The hedgehog principle, if you can imagine 3 different circles. And in one circle, it would be answering the question, what are you good at? In the second circle, it would be answering the question, what do you love? What do you love doing? What are you passionate about? And then in the third circle, what can you make money doing? And what he suggests is that if you were to bring those circles together, where those circles intersect, what are you good at? What do you love doing? What can you make money doing? If you can figure out where those circles intersect, that's the money spot. That's the spot where you need to hang out. That's the place where you're going to maximize your gifts, maximize your life, and where you're going to be the most effective and fulfilled. Well, for us in ministry, it's a little bit different, but I want to take that same idea and bring it in and apply it to what we do as church planters or pastors. And so for us, we would say there are not 3 circles, there are 4. And the circles that I'll lay out for you: qualification, calling, gifting, and passion. We'll start first of all with calling, because what I say is calling trumps everything. Okay, calling trumps everything. Let's park on this for just a minute. What does it mean when you say that God called you to do something? I can say this because I am a pastor. I can say this about other pastors. Pastors are the world's worst for ascribing things to God that He didn't say. Don't confuse calling with permission. There's a lot of things that God allows us to do, but it's not a direct call to do. In a general sense, God's calling for all of us is the same. That we come into relationship with Him, that we be born again, that we walk with Him daily in an authentic relationship, and that we glorify Him with every breath we breathe. In a general sense, that's God's will for our life. There are times where God will give you a very specific calling that is in addition to that general calling. It'll be a specific calling to go to a specific place at a specific time and do a specific task. But be careful what you ascribe to God, because by definition, if you don't do what you say God called you to do, that's called sin, right? That's called disobedience. And so be careful about what you ascribe to God. And so the first thing that we challenge pastors and church planners with is, what is God saying to you? What is God calling you to specifically? Not generally, but specifically. Is He calling you to plant a church? If He is calling you to plant a church, is He calling you to a specific city? If you're a pastor, is He calling you to a specific church? If He's called you into ministry, is He giving you a specific calling to a specific role in a church, or He's just called you to vocational ministry? And so clarify the call of God on your life. Don't ascribe things to God that He didn't say. God can give you permission. Just because you go do something that God didn't call you to do, it doesn't mean you're out of His will. It just means that He gave you permission to do that. If you start to make a move that God doesn't want you to make, what's going to happen? He's going to convict you. You're going to know that. If you're walking with Him daily, as we talked about, you're born again, you're walking with Him daily, and you're trying to glorify Him with every breath you breathe, then you're not going to take a step that you shouldn't take, because you're going to recognize the voice and presence and activity of God in your life, and you're going to sense the conviction of God in your life. And so you're not going to make that move. So the first thing that we want you to identify is, what has God called you to do? What's He giving you permission to do? But what has He called you to do? Because calling trumps everything. Once someone tells me what God's called them to do, once somebody plays the God card, then the conversation's over at that point, right? There's nothing to even talk about, because to not do that would then be sin. But then the second circle that we look at is qualifications. So we start with calling, and then we go to qualifications. What do we mean by that? Are you biblically qualified to do what it is that you said you're called to do? And so we go to Timothy, and we go to Titus, and we go to all the text that lay out the biblical qualifications of a pastor, a church leader, an elder, whatever it is that you feel called to. Make sure you're biblically qualified to do it. Secondarily, have you been trained, and are you equipped to go do what it is that you said you called it? So you've got biblical qualifications, and then you've got general qualifications. And so that's the second circle. So we start with calling. Then we ask the question, am I qualified? Biblically, in a general sense, am I qualified to do it? And then we move to gifting. What am I good at? What gifting do I have? I'm not just talking about spiritual gifts, 1 Corinthians 12. I'm not just talking about that. I'm just talking about in a general sense. Like, what am I really good at? Naturally. I don't have to think about it. Like you know the different levels of I don't know what I don't know. I'm unconsciously incompetent, and then I'm consciously incompetent. Now I'm aware that I don't know, and then I'm consciously competent. Now I'm getting better at it, but I have to think about it, and then I'm unconsciously competent. I'm good at it, and I don't have to think about it. That's what I'm talking about. What are you unconsciously competent at? Like, it's second nature. It's just a gifting. It's just natural. Like, what do you really good at? And then the last circle is what we would ask the question, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? And I want to drill down on this one a little bit, because the word passion in our culture, I think, has been dumbed down. If you go back and study it, the root of the word passion means to suffer. And so when I ask you what you're passionate about, really what I'm asking you is what would you suffer to get the chance to do? I'm asking you what you care about. I heard someone say, what you care about is more important than what you believe. When I first heard that statement, that really took me back, because I came from a denomination that was very, very heavy in doctrine, and a lot of what was taught, a lot of what was preached, was about doctrine. It was the importance of what you believe. And so when I first heard that statement, it was a little bit offensive to me until the speaker unpacked it. And he said this: if you believe that people are going to die and go to hell without Jesus, but you don't care enough to go tell them about Jesus, then who cares what you believe? If you believe that people are hungry and need food, but you don't care enough to take food to them, then who cares about what you believe? And then it started to make sense. When I planted the church that I pastor, planted back in September of 2005, my last Sunday at my previous church was in January of 2005. And when I woke up that first Monday of January of 2005, and I looked in the mirror, I realized I know what I believe, but I don't know what I care about. I don't know. I know what I've cared about in the past, but when you work for somebody else, you have to care about what they care about. If you start to care about things that are different than what they care about, it's either going to create problems internally with you, or it's going to create disunity in the body. You've got to be on the same page with the leader. And so if you're a church planter, I would say this to you: if you've always worked for someone else, what I'm talking to you about right now is one of the most important things you could answer. Because you've never had to stop and figure out who you are and what you really care about. I'm not talking to you about just what you like to do. I'm talking about what are you obsessed over. I'm talking about forget what would you do for free. I'm talking to you about what would you pay somebody else to give you the chance to do. That's what I'm talking about. What do you truly care about? What are you passionate about? And when I left my previous church, I just didn't know, man. I woke up and I was like, I don't know who I am. And I began this journey to figure out what I truly care about. What am I truly passionate about? And then, this is so important. This is so important. Now you know what to say yes to. Now you know what to say yes to. So many pastors and church leaders say yes to everything. I think you're going to be defined by what you say no to. But you don't know what to say no to until you figure out what to say yes to. Once you figure out what to say yes to, then you just say no to everything else. You've heard the principle, the secret of concentration is elimination. So I eliminate everything else. Listen, the good is the enemy of the best. It's not that it's a decision between good and bad. A lot of times it's a decision between good and best. And so once you figure out what you truly care about, listen, I'm trying to help you. I'm telling you, if you can learn to do ministry from that place of what you care about deeply, what you're passionate about, then all of a sudden your life is overflow. Ministry is a response at that point. Now, so you've got calling, you've got qualifications, you've got gifting, and you've got passion. If you can figure out where those four circles intersect, man, that's the place to be. That's the place to be. By the way, a lot of people are good at things they don't enjoy, and a lot of people enjoy things they're not good at. If you don't believe what I'm saying, all you got to do is watch a show like American Idol. A lot of people go on the show and they talk about how they love to sing. But then they quickly learn, the judges tell them, yeah, but you can't sing. It's true in ministry as well. A lot of people enjoy doing things they're not good at, and a lot of people are good at things they don't enjoy. If you can figure this out, this changes everything, man. It changes everything. What are you called to do? Are you qualified to do what you say that you're called to do biblically and in a general sense, equipped to do it? What do you love to do? And what are you good at? Figure out where those four circles intersect, and that's the place for you to be.